the lighting's good right here. I can probably edit it later though. So, yeah. I've decided to do this story time because I just want to let you guys know on what exactly happened. I did mention in my last video that I thought a story time would be a good idea for how I broke my ankle, because I didn't really go into specific detail on how it broke whenever I did mention it. And it's kind of something that kind of sparks your interest, probably anybody's interest, a broken bone. Like, it probably sparks anybody's interest how somebody breaks a bone. And I just thought that you guys might want to hear my story on it, how it broke. So, yeah. Without further ado, let's get started. So, I'm going to, first of all, turn down my... Okay, there we go. So I'm going to start with a little bit of a background on everything that was going on before my ankle broke. So, a few weeks before this all occurred, I was beginning to get, like, mentally, physically, and emotionally exhausted. Because, because I had some pretty big tests coming up for school, and I had to do a lot of studying for them if I wanted to get a good grade. So, I was doing a lot of studying, and that caused a lot of mental exhaustion, and that must have followed into the weeks after the tests were done. And then, I also, physical exhaustion from, just being a gymnast in general, because whenever you're doing any physical sport, you get physically tired, because every movement that you do runs off of energy. Every movement you do, it burns calories, and calories are energy, I believe. I think so. That would make sense. But yeah, so I was becoming physically exhausted from gymnastics, because I am not used to doing gymnastics every single day of the week almost. I'm used to taking gymnastics classes, but that's the extent, so this was something new for me. So yeah, I got physically exhausted towards the end of the gymnastics season. Yeah, that's the background on what was going on. As you can tell, throughout all of that, I would pretty much, have issues. Let's get into at the meet. So at the meet, we got there and we were doing rotations. For every meet, we did rotations where we would start out one event, and whatever other schools were there, they would be on their events too, so we would rotate on events. I was becoming very exhausted, physically exhausted, because my coach was working me really hard. I was working really hard to get stuff down so that I would get a decent score. So all of that can run you down pretty easily. And especially, with that background that I gave you. So anyway, so we got to our last practice event. No, not our last practice event. We got to bars. There was an upstairs area for bars, so we had to go upstairs. So all of the other events were down in the lower part of the gym. So we went to the upper part of the gym, and I did my bars routine. So then, whenever it was time for the others to transition, I didn't have any more events. I was just doing floor and bars, so I pretty much could be on bars as long as my coach needed me to be, until the meet, of course. There was an assistant coach who was taking care of the rest of the team that was going to the other event that was planned. And my coach has me working extremely hard, and all of a sudden, I'm already exhausted. I've been working at this for 20 minutes. And all of a sudden, I jump onto the low bar, and I just fall, and I roll my ankle, but with all of my body weight. Whenever I fell, I heard a pop, and it didn't help that there was another mat there that my foot fell on, so yeah. And I started screaming, I started crying, and, I heard a pop, and I'm like, Coach, I heard a pop, that didn't feel good, it doesn't feel good, get me help, please. So then my coach sent somebody to go grab the school medic that was there, and the school medic came in. She was very nice and helpful, and she asked me which parts hurt. I told her which parts hurted, and then she started touching the side where my ankle broke, and I was already in tears, so that just made me want to cry harder. I typically can handle pain, but for whatever reason lately I haven't been able to, but this is like the most dramatic it's ever been. So yeah. Anyway, so then the medic got me into this, like, I don't know what you call it, but it was this little foam thing that had wire in it, and it was just this long piece of foam that was rectangular, almost like a panel, kind of. And it was a foam panel, and she wrapped the middle of it around the base of my foot, my heel. She gave me some crutches, and it took about 10 minutes for me to get back downstairs. And then as soon as I got back downstairs, my coach handed me her phone and told me to call my dad, so I called my dad. My dad was on his way to the meet anyway, because it started at 7, and the meet had already started at this point. We were upstairs whenever they were singing the national anthem. He came in a few minutes later, all while I'm crying. I've been crying for 20 minutes at this point, maybe longer, and that's like the longest that I've ever cried from pain that I can remember. He saw how much pain I was in, and I was in it. Just to let you guys know, if you don't know already, if I haven't mentioned it already, I broke my jaw a couple of years ago. My dad had some pain basis to go off of, and he saw that I was even more pain than I was whenever I had my broken jaw. So he's like, okay, you know what, we're going to the ER, getting some x-rays, hope.
Yay, my camera just ran out of memory, and it is too dark in here, darn it. Alright, you guys, just to let you know, I can walk a little bit on my foot now, so I'm gonna edit this out. Okay, I guess that's good enough. I got in my dad's truck. We started heading to the hospital. Dad texted my mom, letting her know that we were going to the hospital. And my mom hadn't gotten off, or she either hadn't gotten off work yet, or she was getting off work soon. And, we get to the hospital, and we sign in. The nurse the person at the sign-in desk that's there, she gives me an ice pack to put on my ankle. And just as we're getting called back, I'm getting ready to head back there, and then my dad sees my mom coming down the hall. So we wait for my mom. In the doctor's room, they, talk to me and stuff, and then they say that they're gonna go get the doctor. And then the doctor comes back after having looked at the x-rays, and she's like, so how you doing? And I'm like, yeah, good-ish. So she's like, yeah, you must be in a lot of pain with a broken ankle. And I'm like, excuse me? A broken ankle? What? Do you mean sprained ankle? Or what are you saying? And then my dad's like, oh wait, she broke it? And she's like, yeah, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. And I'm like, it was gonna be somebody. So yeah. That's when I found out I broke my ankle. We're waiting for somebody to come back with a boot, and then it was a guy who put me in my boot. He comes and he puts my foot in the boot. But you see, I had so much swelling going on, and it was such a fresh break. I couldn't get my foot all the way down, so he, tightened the boot up, but, he couldn't tighten it that tight because it hurt if he went any tighter. So, my foot was not in the boot properly, and, I ended up using, some crutches again, obviously. And I got home, and all while I was crutching around, my boot was, threatening to fall completely off. It was just not on secure. I was pretty much on the couch all the time, and I also had some pretty severe pain. In fact, I think it was either the next day or the day after that. I think it was the next day, actually. It had to have been the next day. The next day, I had some severe pain going on in my foot, burning pain, and I got some medicine for that. I had my boot, unhooked from itself about 80% of the time because I was not moving while I was in the boot. and my feet kept going numb, so I had to like release the boot occasionally. And yeah, I had some pretty severe pain the first few days and nights. It was really bad, but then it started to ease up. So that's basically it. But now I am on one crutch. I'm moving into a lace-up boot. But yeah, I'm doing a lot better now. Obviously, considering I can walk around now and put pressure on my foot. And yeah, that's pretty much what happened. I'm sorry this was such a long video. I'm gonna be editing it, so it's probably not gonna be as long. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope that this fascinated you or interested you. Yeah. And please be sure to subscribe. If you are new to my channel, my name is Madison. I do not introduce myself that often in my videos, which I probably really should. So yeah, I will see you guys next week. And yes, next week. I can promise I will see you guys next week because I have a new video idea. Bye guys! Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Bye! If I can hit the pause button or stop button.
What did I just do? I don't know what I just did. Okay.
Is that better? It's somewhat better. You know what? Maybe if I move this table closer. I'm getting distracted. Sorry, just relax.